With coaching, Dan, and your turning point, it's all about what holds us back, and that's been my personal journey as well. So you reach a certain stage and you can actually become more afraid of success than you can of failure. And isn't it strange, I don't know how you feel about this, but we get to a certain stage and all of a sudden sometimes it seems that everything blows up and we're back to square one again. And for this is the start of the things that I started to really look into post-COVID, when the mobile crash went into liquidation, looking about behaviour and what's happening to us subconsciously and how can we overcome that. And I'm absolutely fascinated by it. So the coaching den has gone down that route, and developing programs such as Your Turning Point.
Because it's quite it seems like a mad jump to go from basically looking after little children in creches to a coaching den. How, had you always done this in the background, the coaching, or is it something brand new that you went into?
No, I studied as a counsellor. Must be about when did I start studying? It must be about 2015, and I went into studying counselling a lot more about me, to find out how my mind worked. Why did I keep doing these circles? What happened? And as I was studying it, and as you know, I don't know whether you know, but with counselling you go out and you volunteer, and I did bereavement counselling in schools and in different areas, domestic abuse, etc. And it was the same things that kept coming up all the time, is when we feel anxious or life has thrown us a curveball, it's how we deal with it. And I'm very much about curiosity. I'm a curious person, so asking the whys behind things is something that has really helped me. So turning the counselling around, it was looking at myself as well. It was like looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
And there was light bulb moments time and time again. It was like, wow, why didn't I ever know that about myself? And I've just been, I think many of us go on autopilot all their lives, and society makes us so busy now, busy, that half the time we're just running away from ourselves, and we don't have that time just to sit back and reflect and become curious about ourselves. Play the detective.
Yeah, and you hear a lot, don't you, when people go, oh, that's just the way I am. When they do things, they just go, that's just the way I am, that's just the way I'm made up.
Yeah, and I've done that for years.
You can change some things.
You can. I mean, we all know our why. We may not know it, but we are actually programmed from our why from children. And going back to the children question, they are the best subjects that you can ever really look at, because when we're kids, you can see them, observe children playing, observe them having a tantrum. Their emotions aren't buried 10 foot inside themselves. They come out immediately. And I love that 2-year-old toddler stage, where they are like screaming out, and I don't like this. And we get into adulthood and we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. So we push our feelings down, and that affects us.
I remember doing a course once, and it said, if you want to succeed in business, look at children. They don't hear the word no. So if a child asks you can have some sweets and you say no, they'll ask again and again and again and again, and they'll kind of, when you get a bit like, oh no, they'll kind of leave it for a bit, but then they'll still come back, won't they? And 90% of the time they get what they want. They've just kept on going on. So basically they don't see barriers, do they? They just see what they want, what they think is going to benefit them, and they just keep going for it. And like you're saying, if it doesn't go their way, they have a huge tantrum.
I think I've never grown up.
Like, they'll have a tantrum in the middle of the shop. They don't care if the whole shop's watching them, do they?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
And it is at some point, isn't it? And I used to say this because I've got my niece and nephew, and when they're young and they go on their school plays and they all stand on a stage and sing. And I remember saying once, What age do you think it is where this gets knocked out of you? Because when you're a kid, you just go, and don't get me wrong, when you watch the school play, you'll see some kids that kind of try to hide at the back and some kids that are at the front, but they still all participate, don't they?
They do.
So at what age do they suddenly become self-conscious of what people think of them, and then it all starts changing, doesn't it?
It does. So just before teens, basically. So when you see your child at 10, 11, 12, that's when they're starting to change. And really, they're adapting to the society around them, aren't they?
Yes.
So, you know, a UK child will be completely different from a child from Nigeria, for example, or for a child from Africa, because it's a society that shapes us. And there is a great thing, obviously, back in, you know, the wild times, it was to stay in your tribe.
Yeah.
You had to fit in.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we have to fit in. We have to be able to socialise to stay within our tribes and to survive.
Yeah.
So that actually ties in very well with that 10, 11, 12. We're getting our hormonal stages going on. You know, they're getting interested in the opposite sex or the same sex as it might be. And that's when you get all of that, you know, the peer pressure.
Yeah.
If you go around any high school, you know, the fashion that's in, everybody has to look the same. You know, the kids don't want to stand out there. They want to be part of that tribe, you know, because it's dangerous.
It's funny, isn't it? It's what, and like you say, what society dictates as what is, like I remember being in India once and walking down the beach, and then there were just these people, and they were middle of the afternoon, no alcohol, they were singing and they were dancing, they were creating their own entertainment in the middle of the afternoon, and you would never see that in a Western society, would you? In the middle of the afternoon, just suddenly singing and dancing, unless you come from some kind of musical family. But in the general, and it didn't matter if they were out of tune, it didn't matter if they couldn't dance, and they were having the best time. And I was watching for ages thinking, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is.
But it's what they think is normal, and we don't, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is definitely how society shapes us.
Yeah.
But is that natural to us? Because obviously you could go into this in a great deal of depth.
Yeah.
But as women and as women in business, you know, I think we still hold that inside that really we shouldn't be successful. What if we stand out? What if we do something wrong? And that ultimate shame of putting yourself out there just in case something goes wrong. But both you and I know, Zara, you know, when you're building something, it does go wrong.
Yeah,
we
of
make
times.
mistakes, and it doesn't mean that we failed, but I bet you something, we beat ourselves up 1,000,000 times more than anybody on the outside ever does.
Yeah. So you're thinking, so today's about New Year's resolutions, isn't it? And how we almost like self-sabotage to let me start from the beginning, actually, because I'm kind of going a bit all over the place. So why do we break our New Year's resolutions when we really want to change? Because we set those New Year's resolutions because it is something, I mean, you hear it all the time. I'm going to drink less, I'm going to lose more weight, I'm going to get fitter. That's got to be the biggest one, isn't it? I'm going to get fitter. So we really, really, really want those things. So why do they only last pretty much till the end of January if you're lucky?
Because you've just said it. You know, I want to give up drinking, I want to get fitter, I want to go on a diet. It's all shaming. So what you're actually saying to yourself is this New Year's resolution is I'm going to shame myself into making sure that next year I'm a better person. But have you ever asked yourself, well, why do I want to be that better person? It's not about getting fitter. It might be about, okay, I want to be healthier. I want to be able to run a marathon. I might want to be able to just go and walk in a woodland. That's our why behind it. But everything around us and how we talk to ourselves is self-shaming. And I've given up on New Year's resolutions, but believe me, every single year I did make them. You know, I made those resolutions, and just like everybody else, January, I might have lasted to the first week in February, but life took over. And the way, because it was, a lot of it is subconscious, I just carried on and went with the flow and carried on repeating the behaviours that I'd always repeated. We go back into that. So we need to get away from that shame and not look at the new year as, yes, we're going to go all out here. Now that makes loads of money for gyms and all of that side, you know, that side of things. But what about doing it every day? Every morning you wake up, you're a new person. You've got your new year right there, and looking at small steps. We try and make massive changes. which we wouldn't expect anybody to keep up with. And it's actually working out, what do I want to change? Why? For me, why do I want to change something? And what is the smallest step I can take towards going towards that?
Because the why's got to be the biggest reason, isn't it? Because if you just want to get fitter, it's like when people say, I want to earn more money. Well, how much more money and why, what for?
Yeah.
It's not that you want more money, it's what money's going to give to you. So the same with the fitness. Why do you want to be fitter? If it's like you say, I've got to run a marathon in 6 months' time, well, there's your reason, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And that's why you'll stick to it, isn't it? If you just say it willy-nilly.
Yes, yeah, and that's your motivation, but your motivation has to come from you as well. It can't come from somebody else.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, like somebody came up to me and said, right, Julie, in 6 months' time, you're going to run a marathon. I'd be like, no, thank you, absolutely not. But if somebody came up to me and said, Julie, how do you fancy running a marathon and doing something for a charity? I'd be, yes, I'm not going to do this, by the way, just in case somebody from Mind comes up to me and says I'm going to run a marathon. But if you talk to somebody's why.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go and play a song now. I love this song, Diana Ross and the Supremes. And then we're going to come back. So remember, if you've got any questions for Julie, please send them to me and I will play them to her. Hello everybody, back again with the Glow and Go Hour, and I'm here with Julie Williams today, and we are talking about resolutions and why they fail, and basically why aren't we sticking to the words that we're telling ourselves we want. So earlier on we were saying, well, before the music break, we were saying about self-sabotage. So, and the mind is protecting us. So what do you actually mean by that we self-sabotage and it's our mind protecting us?
Okay, so this is all about your subconscious, okay? Things that you do out of habit are based on things that have happened to you in your past. So I always call it, I have this little gremlin. It's a gremlin in my brain with a clipboard, okay? And she's really dramatic, yeah? She's really, really dramatic. And if I ever think about making a change, doing something different, like this, which is so different, she's then shouting in my head, absolutely not, you're not going to do that. Remember the last time you tried something new, it was a disaster, just stop. So my little gremlin will continuously do that in my head, even though it doesn't shout, show on the outside. I mean, do you have a gremlin? Do you call it a gremlin, or do you have something, the little devil on your shoulder that talks in your head, to stop you doing things? And you know what, that gremlin there isn't trying to ruin my life. She's just trying to protect me. She's trying to keep me safe. So the gremlin is your subconscious. It's that feeling when something comes up and you feel, oh no, in your stomach. I have to remember I'm on radio so you can't see me. It's in your stomach, and it's also habits that have kept you safe in the past, whether that's through childhood. It's something that you've gone to maybe in your teenage years, and it's worked at that time. But we don't ever go back and review it. Yeah. We tend to press it down, it's gone, but your subconscious mind will always try and keep you safe. So unless you've gone through that and you've resolved that issue, it will come up again. I don't know, you see, there is a story about relationships where you'll keep meeting the person that will bring out these things inside you until you've actually overcome them. Okay. So, and that can be in business as well, or who you associate with. It will carry on challenging you and challenging you, and there are shortcuts to that. Yeah. And it is that, I think that's why counselling is so valuable, because it's that action of listening to your own words. When you feel you're in a place of trust and safety, then you can hear your own words, and when you hear your own words or somebody reflects it back to you, that is when you get your light bulb moments. Excuse me. So we don't, and I don't like the word self-sabotage in many ways, even though I do use it, and it's bandied about around, because again, that feels quite oppressive. It feels like we're beating ourselves up with a stick. We're doing this to ourselves. Well, we're not. We're just, that internal part of us is just trying to keep us safe.
Yeah. Because our body is fight or flight, isn't it? And our body wants to keep us safe. But sometimes that trying to keep us safe doesn't help us to grow as a person. I was quite fortunate quite a few years ago when I first got into network marketing. I was at an event and the person that was speaking said, "What's the worst that's going to happen? You're not going to die, are you?" And this was literally about talking to other people about the business and whatever your product was. And I always remember thinking, God, that's so true, isn't it? Why am I so worried about things? Because what is the worst that's going to happen? The worst possible that's going to happen for that scenario for me was either somebody was going to say no to me, or they'd ignore me, or they'd walk away from me. That was it.
Yeah.
And really, when I sort of reckoned that in my head, I thought, well, if they're that horrible a person that they want to be that abrupt to me and not even just stand there and listen and nod and be polite, then really do I want to talk to them? And I managed to after that fear went away.
Did you challenge that fear? After you'd heard that words and you thought those thoughts, do you remember consciously going out and trying to challenge that fear? So the next person, when you went out and you were marketing your goods, did you actually feel that inside?
No, the next time I went out, I just had it in my head, what's the worst that's going to happen? And once I had that in my head, nothing bad was going to happen to me. And actually, the things that I'd built up very, 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 very rarely happened. I have had a couple of rude people over the years, but there is so much in a minority. And then I started adapting it to every single thing in my life. And then because I challenged myself more and more and more, things started getting less and less scary, because I was doing things and then kind of going, oh, that was all right.
Yeah.
So now the only things really I would say that scare me are things that are meant to scare you, like jumping out of a plane, or doing a parachute jump or a bungee jump or something that is actually meant to scare you. Do you know what I mean?
But that's like an exhilarating kind of fear, isn't it? And you're expecting that fear.
Yeah. And it is meant to scare you.
It is absolutely meant to scare you. And it's so important. I mean, what that person was saying to you, and it's very, very true. And we do worry about these things, and we worry about what other people are going to say.
Yeah.
We worry about how other people are going to react to us, and we go back to that, wanting to be part of that society again. It's so very, very deep. But when we're doing that, when we're wondering what's going to happen, how people are going to react to us, like you say, but 99.9% of the time, everybody's thinking about themselves.
Yes.
They're very rarely thinking about you.
Yes.
And what you've done is you've actually used curiosity as well towards that. So it's thinking about, well, why do I do that? Why am I so worried? And there's something that you can do as well, is if you're really concerned or really worried about doing something, just stand up and walk to the other end of the room. And that actual physical, thing of getting up and walking actually changes your perspective and helps you step out of your emotional brain and into your logical, practical brain.
Yeah.
And that's what that lady did. Yeah. She took you out of your emotional brain and brought you back up to your front lobe, or the front of your head, your logical brain.
Yeah.
We'll still feel the feelings inside, even if you go out and you do that first sale, that first time, you'll still have that feeling inside. But because you've done it, you've actually faced that fear and you've overcome it.
Yeah.
So with New Year as well, the things that we usually make resolutions about are usually based on fear.
Okay.
If I don't keep fit, XYZ is going to happen to me.
Yeah.
If I don't stop drinking, XYZ is going to happen to me. We are very sensible beings. We know this.
Yeah.
And this is why shaming people never, ever works.
Yeah.
So when you're in a situation, it could be that somebody is self-medicating through wine or whatever, and somebody else out of concern is saying, you need to stop that, you're causing yourself harm. People are very aware that they're doing that, which is why they make the New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
But you cannot shame yourself into doing something new. Somebody else can't shame you into doing something. You have to find that why within yourself. And I've got, towards the end, I've got 5 little pointers of things that people can do who are listening to the show
Okay.
that are a bit of fun, but they really work.
So, what's your turning point story then? How did you, like you say, how did you get to where you were when you realised enough is enough and start to really analyse yourself, which is now turned into you now helping other people?
Yeah.
What happened to you?
I think when you look back, and I love the turning point idea, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. When you think back, you've got lots of turning points in your life. Now, there are ones that will have a lasting effect on your life, and one of them was my brother. He died when he was 12.
Okay.
And the one thing that sticks with me from that is that the dreadful grief never went away, but more importantly for me, that turning point was, well, I've been given this life and I need to live it for both of us now. So that was a huge turning point. But more recently, it was, now this sounds awful, but I had a heart attack. Lots of brilliant things have happened to me in my life, but in June I had a heart attack. That was a huge turning point, because we all think we're invincible, and I definitely, there is too much life to live, it's too many things to do, and having that heart attack absolutely pulled me right back, and psychologically as well as everything else. And I think I'd been changing a little bit since the mobile crash company went into liquidation during COVID. It was trying to find myself. My identity was so much tied in with the company that I'd built.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Julie was anymore. So then I started exploring different things. Some people who know me might know about the cooking counsellor, because I love cooking. And I wanted to do something certainly around the counselling. And I kind of learned that I can give value to people by giving them shortcuts and a helping hand. Sometimes we just need somebody there that we trust. So the biggest turning point was, I was supposed to probably having run-up symptoms before the heart attack, which I didn't realise. I was having breathlessness, I had brain fog, I had a cough that would not go away. But I kind of put that down to different things. The menopause, my brain just didn't work. So I thought, oh, menopause, brain fog. And the strangest thing was, as soon as I'd had the heart attack, the next day it was like my brain had fired up. It was obviously getting more oxygen, working properly, my heart valve had been repaired. And I was like, I can't believe this. It's like my ADHD brain went off on a million different things. I was like, wow, I'm back. I don't actually know if I like this. But the clarity of thought. So that was a huge turning point. And that is really where I've been concentrating so much in about behavioural specialisms and using my skills. I have this thing called pattern thinking, and it enables me to see patterns that maybe other people wouldn't, which is really, really helpful if you're working with groups of people. You're working with groups of people on your turning point or on a one-to-one counselling. I'm very observant, so I'd say that was my latest turning point.
Okay.
But I bet you've had loads. If you think to yourself and your listeners, have a think about what turning points they've had in their lives.
I always think that the major turning points you have tend to come from something quite horrible happening to you. I wondered this because I know I had a fire a couple of years ago. It was a guy, actually it's nearly 3 years ago now, put a petrol bomb in my house, and at the time it was horrendous. But what's come out of it, and I wouldn't want to live it again, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody else, but what's come out of it is just the direction my life has taken has been really, really good, because I was I'd always been into fitness. I was thrown into, I joined a company, Tropic Skincare, and it was only because I'd run out of skincare and I thought I was going to add it on to the ladies I coached, and it went off because this desperation for money, because I had nothing. Set me off on this trajectory, and now it's the best thing that could have happened to me. And I do wonder, would I have gone that way, And I thought about it thinking, but I've had loads of things in my life which have been really, really good. Like, you know, I've gone to a country, I've met somebody else, we've ended up somewhere completely different to where I expected. But they don't seem to stand out as much. And I wonder if it's because when something really awful happens to you, or something really shocking to you, whether it's like, say, your health or whatever, it's so horrendous that you really take stock of that thing. Whereas when you're having, you know, when I was partying on a beach somebody and I met somebody, they said, let's go on a speedboat and let's go here, that one doesn't seem to stand out as dramatically. But is that because it was just all good and happiness, so it wasn't this?
It's because you felt safe.
Is that where it was?
Yes, yeah. So when you're happy, you're safe. You're not experiencing fear. Yeah. So something like even going out on a speedboat is just, oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
There's a million things that could happen, but oh my god, that is so exciting. But sadly, what happened to you with your fire, it was completely out of your control and it threatened your life.
Yes, it did.
And there are elements there of PTSD as well, because that is a really, really scary situation to go through as well. And though obviously loads of good things have most probably come since then, it becomes a turning point. It does either make us look at, okay, how do I keep myself safe, and that could have actually made you become agoraphobic, stay in your home, never come out again. You know, the fear could have overcome you. Whereas you're that type of person who, yes, felt that fear, absolutely 100%. But I remember you talking at the time and you saw a lot of good around you as well.
I saw so much good.
Yeah.
I always
and
say,
you focused on that.
For one act of evil, I had 1,000 acts of good, because in the system, I didn't get any financial help or any help at all from any council, government, system, benefits, court, nothing. But the help I got from people, local people that came, and you know, I had one person, they sent me some beers through the post.
Oh my god.
Like a Tesco order.
How lovely.
With a lovely word, you know what I mean? I don't even drink beer.
Can I just say something about that as well? And that is such a wonderful, wonderful point. And I'm always saying, do not watch the news.
No, I never watch the news.
Because the negativity, what happened to you is 1 in a million, and it's absolutely dreadful. But if you sit and you watch that news, you hear stories like this every single day. And though you think that they are bypassing you and they're not affecting you, they are absolutely affecting you. And what we need is a good news channel that says things like this on the radio. Yeah, well, somebody sent me, you know, like a pack of beers, or a friend came round with shopping for me, or somebody just popped
cakes. Where I live on my estate, so I live in a council estate, and Montgomery's live there. They're painters and decorators. They were in all the time. They literally painted my whole house. They just came in, they took over, and at the time I was in quite a lot of shock, and I didn't really know what was going on, and they just came in, they just did it, and then they just left. There was and I would have said that other than one of the sisters does, I didn't really know any of the other people. I knew them just to say hello to. So there was loads of that going on. Local people were phenomenal, and then there was people, because it was online, there was people from afar, and that's what I mean. Like I say, somebody did a Tesco's order for beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It came to my house, and it was just, it was phenomenal. And it is luckily I've always been a cups half full kind of a girl, and that's what I focused on quite quickly. And now, all this time later, I focus on the good that's come out of it. But like you say, the turning point, it was, and I remember at the time when a very good friend said to me, you won't know this now because it's too soon, but some good will really come from this.
And look where you are now, hosting a radio show on top of everything else that you do, which is absolutely incredible. But let's focus on and actively look around at the good in your life. And I'm very much a fan of that. And that is something that I will always say is, you know, I do believe in gratitude. And if you're feeling low, you cannot feel sad and happy at the same time. It's impossible. Try it. Honestly. Try it. If you're out there, think of something sad, then put on something that makes you really happy, a really good song. You can't feel 2 emotions at once, so you can choose. Note,
we're going to put on one of my favourite songs. I've got lots of favourite songs, but this is a really good one. A bit of disco. I always think that getting up and dancing, and if you hate disco, then it's not so good for you, but if you love it, you're going to love this song. Hello everybody, I hope you enjoyed those songs. Did they make you dance? They always make me dance. Okay, so I'm back here with Julie Williams, and earlier on in our chat today, she was saying that she was going to give you listeners some tips to help you. So I'm going to ask you, Julie, what tips can people have to make changes that will actually stick in their life?
Clear out your mental cupboard. This is what I say. Do you know one of those cupboards that you haven't looked in since 1994, and you open that door and everything falls out? Yeah, that's your mental cupboard. Okay, so it's clearing out the chaos, and there's a few ways that you can do this. Okay, so you can step back a little bit. Okay, so we always approach it with curiosities. Okay, so the first one is the don't reply yet rule. So this is when we're feeling overwhelmed and you're one of those people that loves to help other people and says yes all the time, and then steps back afterwards and goes, oh my goodness, why have I said that? Why have I said yes again? I just don't have the capacity. So the don't reply yet rule is before you react, okay, or you're launching yourself into some kind of meltdown, give yourself 10 seconds just before you say yes or no. Just count slowly, 10 seconds. Think about it like a loading screen for your brain. You know, when you've got that never-ending circle that goes around, you need to put that in for your brain. And then, you know, it's buffering. What's it called?
Buffering. I did somebody told me that once because I say yes, and I did okay, let me check my diary and I'll get back to you.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And that was, unless it was a definite yes, I want to be at that thing.
Yeah.
And it was a way, because I would never let people down, and the amount of times I'd be like, oh my god, why have I said yes to all of these things?
Yeah, and then it becomes overwhelming.
And
not
stressful.
Because you don't want to help. Of course you want to help, but sometimes we have to look after ourselves as well. And if we're that busy looking after anybody else, we can't look after ourselves.
And it's too much on your plate sometimes for me.
Yes.
I've said I'm doing too much. My brain's busy. So yeah, mine is let me check my diary.
Yeah, so that's brilliant. So have a think of yourselves what you can do to give yourself that 10-second break and to step back. So number 2 is this a thing or a thing test. Okay, is this a thing or a thing test? So actually ask yourself, is this a problem? So this is for worriers. This is for people who really worry about everything that's going to go on, all the things that might happen which never happen anyway. Okay, but you know, we have that worrying coping mechanism. So is it actually a problem, or am I just tired? Am I hungry? Or am I peopled out? One of mine is peopled out. I get really peopled out. And then 9 out of 10 times it's you're not feeling awful, you're not really worrying, you're panicking, you're overwhelming. It's just because you're tired or you're hungry and you need to take a break.
Wow.
Okay, so to stop yourself worrying. The 60-second sloth step. Can you say that?
60-second sloth step.
Right, bravo. This is your tongue twister for the day. Okay. If the task seems massive. So some of us sometimes, and I know this, when I've got an admin task, it will feel like I'm hitting my head against a brick wall. And it doesn't matter what I do, it is just becomes like climbing a mountain. It's really horrible. It makes me feel sick. So the 60-second sloth step, if the task feels massive, do the tiniest, laziest version of it. So for me, sometimes it's literally just opening the laptop. Yeah, and I also have a thing that I work with is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Yeah. Just do it, okay? But, you know, future you doesn't care if you did it like a sloth. And nobody knows what's going on inside your head, okay? She just cares that you started. So it doesn't matter. So slow down, think of that sloth. And it's my niece that she loves sloths, so that's where that's come from. And another one is number 4, what would future me roll her eyes at? So check in with the future you, yeah? If you're looking, or if it's your best mate or your sister or something, you think, oh my god, that's it, she's done that again. Yeah, this is about putting it on yourself. Will she be proud of me, that future you? Okay, or will she be saying, really, you've really made a drama and a chaos out of this.
Okay.
And the last one, number 5, the capacity check. So you know when your phone is at 3%?
Yeah.
Our bodies get like that too. And I'm the worst at this. And since the heart attack, I've really had to measure my energy levels and my battery. I call it my physical battery.
Yeah.
You've also got an emotional battery as well. Okay, so being able to check in with yourself. Where is your battery level? You know, is it on 3%? I did a quick recharge before I came here to boost mine up to 15% because it was quite low today. So are you basically running at 3% and then pretending everything is fine and wondering if you're crashing? Give yourself permission to step back, to have a rest, to do something that you love or you enjoy. And that could be going for a walk.
Yeah.
Okay? But recognise your battery level, your emotional battery level. So that's my 5 tips.
Because I think as women as well, they do a lot, don't they? So they generally, and I'm not. This isn't anything against guys, because I know there's some amazing guys out there, but the women that I know that are my friends that also have husbands, they still do tend to be either running a business or going to a job, doing the kids' school and pickups, getting the house sorted, doing the Christmas decorations, like this time of year, doing all the Christmas shopping, getting the cards. They tend to do an awful lot, and they find that they don't leave much time for themselves. And it is that thing, isn't it, where you're saying you just need to. I know for me, the one thing that keeps me, because I've got a lot of energy, but if I don't have one day a week where I just wake up with no alarm clock and I don't have to be anywhere first thing in the morning, so I know when I go to bed that night I can stay in bed all morning if I want, that in itself does something to me.
Yeah.
So that not having to get up and run, which I pretty much do most mornings, if for some reason I miss that, you can see that everything then starts to just all get on top of me. And I did it to myself recently, where I ended up in bed, where I didn't listen to myself for weeks on end.
Yeah.
And I went to bed. I was here one day, I was so poorly, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Went home, slept for 18 hours straight, woke up, slept for another like 6 or 7 hours straight, and then didn't get out of bed till the day after. So I kind of lost 2 days because I didn't stop.
And this is so important, is to learn the physical signs and the mental signs that you're going down that slippery slope, because your body can't crash and recover.
Yeah.
It's so important. Also allow other people to help. I know you were saying just then about, you know, women, we run around like blue ass blah 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 blah, but we also don't know how to ask for help. And we try, and if I don't do it, it won't happen. Well, actually, if it doesn't happen, so what?
That's the thing, isn't it? If it doesn't happen, like you say, is it important?
Yes.
Is future you gonna be going,
yes,
you didn't write that Christmas card?
And who remembers? If you think back over the last 10 years, you know, it's crazy, isn't it? The things we beat ourselves up for. So maybe the first resolution, which you can keep for New Year, and after that every day is a New Year's resolution, is stop beating yourself up. Be kind to yourself. And learn how to be kind to yourself, because we hear these words and they go, what? How do I do that? Well, if you come to me, then you'll learn how to do that.
And on that subject, how do people, so if people want more help from you, if they would like to join your coaching den, what do they do? How do they find you? How do they get in contact?
The easiest place to find me at the moment is on Facebook, because that is the one platform that I like to use. So they can find me under the Coaching Den on Facebook. If you want to message me, I can send you a link to my private group, that Your Turning Point, which has got loads of helpful tips and connections on there as well moving forward. My email is help@thecoachingden.com, and just ask.
Just reach
anybody,
out to you.
Reach out to me, please do. You know, I love speaking to different people, and so anything I can do to help, honestly.
That's amazing.
Well,
it's been lovely having you on the show today, Julie. We've learned lots about you, and we are going to finish with a song that you said is very close to your heart, and your children will send it to you wherever they are.
Yeah, if they hear it playing. Most people who know me know this song. as my life song.
Okay. We are going to finish with the 4 non-blondes. Have a fabulous day, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in. And I will see you the same time next week. Love you lots. Bye.
Bye.